All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for today's A Month of Service presentation of property taxes and how exemptions can save you money. My name is Nia Murray. I am Programs Coordinator with Neighborhood Recovery Community Development Corporation, and we are one of the partners in the A Month of Service program. Also included is the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods, and typically would be joining us is Ms. Myra Hippolyte, but she is a bit under the weather, so we are wishing her a speedy recovery. Also included are our presenting partners here today with the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector's Office, Harris County Appraisal District, Lone Star Legal Aid, the Earl Carl Institute, Houston Bar Association, and Houston Volunteer Lawyers. And together we collectively make up what we're calling a month of service. And a month of service is a collaboration of these 8 different organizations that come together on a monthly basis and offer a variety of workshops relative to asset building, asset protection, community empowerment, and maintaining of generational wealth. We decided to come together collectively a few years back because of the simple fact that we do service the same community. We do have the same mission and same goals in mind, that is to provide resources and information to the community that could potentially save them money and help build their assets and protect their assets. So we wanted to create a larger impact. So we decided to come together to offer a variety of these workshops every month. So we used to be out into the public and out in the community each month in a different neighborhood, which is why we called it a month of service. And then kind of moving around throughout the city, offering a month-long set of workshops in one area and then packing up and going to another area and doing it all over again until we pretty much made our way around the city. So, but of course, due to COVID, we've had to adjust and adapt and provide this information to you virtually. We did not want to stop providing this information to the folks in the community. We know the value in the information that we do provide. We know that lots of folks don't know where to go, who to talk to, who to call about various questions that they may have, whether it's legal questions, any type of civil legal assistance, or protesting property taxes, or wanting to know about different exemptions and what airships exemptions mean, and so on and so forth. So we wanted to create this platform so that will allow us to provide this information to the community. So we ask that you guys to be as interactive as you'd like to possibly be. Please feel free to ask whatever questions you like. However, we ask that you try to keep your questions to be as general as you possibly can to avoid having your personal detail information getting out there for everybody to see or have access to. We are recording this session as well as broadcasting live on our social media platform at Amos Houston TX. So please follow us there. And I had to throw a little shameless plug in there, just so we can increase the following. But do keep that in mind when you are asking your questions or typing your questions into the chat, that it will be accessible for everybody to see or to view or go back and see and share again. So don't give us your personal detail information. In addition to that, information that we present here today is for educational purposes. None of the information that we're providing for you in this workshop or the other workshops is considered your personal advice. However, if you do want more one-on-one detail, specific questions addressed, we ask that you reach out to our presenters directly, or send them a message directly in the chat so that they can work on your personal concern specifically for you. So with that being said, I'd like for us to go ahead and introduce our presenting partners, and we will move right on into our presentation. So Ms. Mabel, I think we're going to start with Maylene first. She can introduce herself, and then we'll introduce you, and then you can move right on into your presentation. So Maylene, go right ahead.
Yes, everybody can hear me? Good?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay, everybody, my name is Maylene, and I'm our specialist of the Harris County Tax Office of Ann Harris Bennett. And today we are so happy and excited again that we can participate in this very informative webinar again with everybody. And my presentation will consider later on. Please just tune in.
Thank you very much.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mabel Menifee. I'm with the Harris County Appraisal District. And thank you so much for joining us today for a workshop about property taxes and specifically the role that exemptions play in the state's property tax code, HCAD's administration of them for county residents, and how they reduce a property owner's tax burden. If you're new to these workshops, first of all, welcome. And we recently completed a series of workshops on protesting your property values as the protest deadline closed in on us. And so this month we move into the exemptions process, which is what our presentation will primarily be about today. I'm here today with our presenter, Tawana Nelson. Tawana is a senior exemption specialist with HCAD, and you're going to hear from her next. She'll, of course, be followed by Mei-Ling Lin of the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector's Office, better known as County Tax Office, to talk about the flip side of the property tax system. That means that once HCAD assigns a value to a county property and the taxing jurisdictions set a rate, tax rate, the tax office then calculates and mails out your bill. And they also follow up with any collection procedures. Some of you may have filed protest on your 2022 property appraisal before the May 16th deadline or the 30-day deadline and are currently waiting for your hearing dates to approach. You may have some lingering questions if you missed our protest workshops. You may have some lingering questions about the protest process, which had been covered in those workshops. However, joining us today, he'll be in the chat later on, is Patrick Brogan, one of our managers in a residential property division, who'll be able to address those questions that you may have at the end of the presentation in the time remaining. I also want to add that there are also helpful videos out on our website at hcad.org, as well as a recording. I believe a recording still available of last month's workshop that you can get at Neighborhood Recovery's website at www.nrcdc.org. So having said all that, I want to go ahead and get started with today's presentation. All right, and so if Nia, if you would share that screen.
It's you have to share screen.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Okay. So starting with again, welcome. And I also want to I'm going to talk a little bit about HCAD and in terms of what we do, and then I'm going to hand it over to Tawana to talk about exemptions. So appraisal districts, first of all, we are one of over 200 appraisal districts. Each county in the state of Texas has one. And our responsibilities are to appraise all county residential, commercial, industrial, and the business personal property in the state. And in our case, since we are the central appraisal district for Harris County, our role is to do so for properties throughout Harris County. We are, by the way, a subunit of the state of Texas. The Texas Comptroller has the oversight for us, but we operate under the tax code, which is set by the state legislature. A lot of people think that we are part of county government. Although we work closely with them, we are actually a subunit of the state. One of the reasons we're here today is because we manage exemptions and we maintain those records. We're going to talk about that. We also certify the appraisal rolls, and what that means is that in order for jurisdictions to set their tax rates accordingly, they need to know the sort of revenue and tax value coming from the properties that are within the county. So why do we pay property taxes? It's just something that's worth going over. Texas has no state income tax. So property taxes are what support critical local services. That includes schools, which are probably the biggest part of your tax bill, as well as police and fire protection, parks, road maintenance, etc. That traffic signal down at the end of your street, that is paid for through property taxes. Let's go on to the next one. Some important dates just to kind of keep you understand why we like to talk about certain things that we like to talk about at different times of the year. January 1st is the date of appraisal for property in the state of Texas. And what that means is that the value of your property is based on the condition. HCAD values it based on the condition of your property as of January 1st. That means that something could happen, that you could have a fire and maybe a room in the home is destroyed on January 4th, but your appraisal for that year is going to be based on the way it was on January the 1st. If for some reason you haven't been able to repair it prior to that, before the following January 1st, then that is when you might see that reduced value or that damage reflected in your appraisal. April 30th is kind of a soft date for exemptions. We like to get all of the exemptions in by April 30th so that we can guarantee they're going to be reflected on your tax bill and when you receive that in the fall. But you can continue to file those exemptions as you become eligible for them throughout the year. May 15th is our primary protest deadline, which is when you must file any protest you may want to make after receiving your value statement from HCAD. It's also, if you receive it later than say April the 16th, you always have 30 days to file that protest from the date of the notice that you receive from HCAD. And then in October, the tax bills are mailed. Maylene's going to talk a little bit about that when the tax office comes on. And then, of course, February 1st is the delinquency date when you will begin to be charged delinquency if you have not been able to pay your taxes. Another important date is
excuse me, Miss Mabel.
Yes.
Are you having issues with the sharing? It's not on our screen. Oh, there it goes. Okay, now we got it.
What about now?
We see it now.
Okay, my apologies. I didn't realize it wasn't showing up. So as I mentioned before, just some of the important dates, as you can see here, that we operate under, which is why we have deadlines for taxpayers throughout the state. May 15th, of course, was protest deadline, and the tax bills will be mailed out in October. February 1st is the delinquency date for taxes, any taxes due that have not been paid. And we're also coming up on a date called July the 1st, which means that any unpaid taxes that were delinquent in February, they will go into collections, which means that there will be additional and added expenses. And we're going to talk a little bit about the payment options that are available for you to avoid that from happening, to keep that from happening. Quickly, as we do our annual value notice, one thing we just want to make sure that you understand about HCAD is that we provide, can you guys hear me? Okay. The market,
Yes,
wanted to make sure you understand the difference between the market value and the appraised value, which is what you receive when you get HCAD's annual appraisal notices each year. The market value is what HCAD determines. It's going to be the value at which your property would sell for to a willing buyer on the open market. It is the value that HCAD has assigned to that based on sales within your area of similar or same properties. The appraised value, which is what is also going to be shown on your value notice, could be the same as the market value, particularly if you have no exemptions, or it may be lower because of those exemptions. And that includes a 10% appraisal cap for properties that have homestead exemptions. The appraisal cap simply means that in times of rising market values, such as we see now, your value cannot go above 10% of what it was the previous year because of that cap. So it protects you from rapidly increasing values. And it also provides it also reflects the exemptions that are on file, that are in place for your particular property. Now, talking about exemptions, those are very important in terms of helping to reduce your property tax burden. And I'm now going to turn it over to the expert I have sitting here with me. That's going to talk a little bit more and explain to you a little bit more about those exemptions. So now I'm going to turn it over to Tawana Nelson. And we had technical difficulties with the camera on one of our computers. So if you will just pardon us for a moment, she and I are going to switch seats.
Again, while they're doing that, I just wanted to remind everybody, if you do have questions, please feel free to type those into the chat. We have a couple of people from the appraisal district as well as the tax office that are monitoring the chat that can help answer any questions that you may have also. So thanks. Go right ahead, Ms. Tawana.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Tawana Nelson. I'm here to discuss the information regarding exemptions. So the exemptions, what they do is they exclude a part of your property from taxation. The exemptions reduce the appraised value before tax rates are applied based on qualifications of the owner, not the property. So the different types of exemptions that we currently have are your general residence homestead exemption, the over 65 exemption, the over age 55 surviving spouse, the disability exemption, disabled veterans, survivor of a first responder killed in the line of duty, and there's also an airship exemption. Regarding the general residence homestead exemption, this is the most common exemption. You must own and occupy the home as your primary residence. There will be a 10% appraisal increase cap, $40,000 school tax exemption by state law. Other exemptions may be offered by various jurisdictions. The over 65 exemption and disability exemptions, we'll go over that information as well. You qualify for the entire tax year whenever the entire tax year that you turn 65. So even if you turn 65 on December 31st of 2022, then you will get your entire exemption for the entire tax year. Disability exemption, you qualify for the entire year that you become eligible to receive disability benefits under federal old age survivors and disability insurance. The benefits for both exemptions is the school district sets what is called a tax ceiling on the on your property. So the tax ceiling is where it pretty much freezes the amount that you pay for the school district. Then you would also receive $10,000 exemptions for school taxes, in addition to the $40,000 exemption granted to homeowners with general residence homestead exemption. Over the age of 65, individuals and disabled individuals are eligible for tax deferral and to pay taxes in installments without penalties. The over 55 surviving spouse exemption, you qualify if your deceased spouse died in a year in which they qualified for the over 65 or disability exemption. The surviving spouse must be 55 years of age or older on the date of their spouse's death. You receive all over 65 exemption benefits. The school tax ceiling will continue and is transferable. And you're also eligible for tax deferral and to pay taxes in installments without penalties. On the airship exemption, on Section 3 of the homestead application, this is the property for which this application is submitted, an air property. If you answer yes, and do other air property owners occupy the property? If you answer in this section, then we can go ahead and establish the exemptions under your name. The information needed with your application will be an affidavit establishing ownership of interest in the property. This can be an airship affidavit or Form 50-114-A affidavits, a copy of the death certificate for the prior owner of the property, a copy of the property's most recent utility bill, and a citation of any court record relating to the applicant's ownership of the property if available. The ways that you can apply for an exemption are as follows. Your application can be filed by mail, email, mobile app, or online. Depending on the application, on when the application is submitted, the processing time may take longer. If possible, submit everything at once, so this will not delay the processing time. Once your exemptions have been applied to your account, you'll receive notification of the approval. You can also verify exemptions in place by reviewing the back of your annual value notice. This is an example of what our online application looks like. This application can be submitted directly through our website. You will also have the ability to upload documents. The qualifications for the residential homestead exemption is you must own and occupy the home as your primary residence. Beginning in 2022, you no longer have to own it. You no longer have to own and occupy January 1st in order to get the residential homestead. You can now receive what is called an immediate residence homestead exemption. You also must submit your driver's license or ID card with the address of the property. Please keep in mind that exemptions are not granted automatically. You must apply. Every year we send out a confirmation card. Typically it's mailed like in December to those with existing exemptions. This is what the confirmation card looks like, front and back. It will have your home information on the front and the type of exemptions that you're receiving. And then on the back, it would show, that you qualify for this exemption for the prior tax year, and that this was just to let you know that you'll continue to receive the exemption for this tax year. Okay, so we mail these confirmation cards each year with return mail requested. If the confirmation card is returned, HCAD attempts to contact the homeowner again. If no response, then the exemption may be removed. This is our website where you would go to, where you can go and fill out your application. You can also look up your property information. And then this is our different ways for you to contact us. You can contact us by mail. And our physical address is 13013 Northwest Freeway, Houston, Texas, 77040. Our web address is hcad.org. The telephone number for customer service is 713-957-7800, or you can email help@hcad.org. If there are any questions regarding exemptions, you can send them either in a chat or you can let us know, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Thank you for your time.
Right.
Okay.
And with that, we will turn it over. You've just heard about the HCAD side of the property tax coin. And with that, we will turn it over to the tax office to talk about the other side.
Okay, so I'm taking over from Mabel. Hi, everybody. My name again, Meili, and I'm outreach specialist of the Harris County Tax Office of Harris-Panate. And today I'm going to just introduce major three categories. The first one is how your property tax is calculated. The second one is the exemption again. We will give away example how the exemption can save you big money. And the third one will be the payment options for the people who might have more flexibility to pay their bill. Okay, so let me just share the slide. Hold on one moment. And then let me switch to slide mode. Okay, everybody can see it. Can I have a feedback? Can I hear you?
Yes, we can see it. Go ahead.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much. Here, person is talking. Okay, so this will be just the introduction. So let me just go to the next one. Okay, so for this slide, you can see actually Harris County Tax Office managed almost 1 million tax account. And although Harris County have more than 600 actually, the tax unit, Harris County Tax Office only cover the major one that only 79 tax unit. For example, what has been listed right here, Harris County, City of Houston, Houston ISD, Harris County Flood Control District. So at this point, there are so many jurisdictions actually not covered. So some people, some homeowners, take myself, for example, I actually received 2 bills. One is for Harris County Tax Office, and the other is from my MUD, because my MUD district is not covered by the Harris County Tax Office. So if you do have more than 1 bill, you would know the other 2, the extra, is not the one that has been covered by Harris County Tax Office. And the next ones, and as everybody can see, this is just formula of your tax bill, how to calculate. And everybody can see the major 2 elements. Earlier, Mabel was talking about appraisal value and the taxable value. So what we can see, the first one's taxable value. Taxable value actually is your appraisal value minus all the exemptions that you qualify. Okay, and the second one, everybody can see this is tax rate. And this one is actually controlled by the tax jurisdiction, or we can say tax unit, that they are the ones to control, to decide what's the tax rate. And after these 2 numbers has been determined by EduCAD and the tax unit, then around November, December, and everybody can see you will receive your bill, and those are the bills that actually it's come up from the tax office. So we take 2 numbers from these 2 entities, and we do a little bit math, but we print out a bill, send out a bill, and we collect a bill, and eventually we distribute to the tax unit. So now everybody know, if you do have the taxable value or your appraisal value, the person and the agent that you have to talk to is EduCAD. If it's the rate, the tax rate that you have problem with, then it's your tax unit that you need to talk to. And let's go down to the next one. So this is just an example, the bill, the format that you can receive from Harris County Tax Office. So what we can see right here actually is on the top portion of it. So let me just zoom in a little bit. Let me see right here. Okay, so we can introduce on the right side. Okay, everybody can see this is the account number, and this number is universal with the EduCAD. You know, you can just use this number either in tax office or in EduCAD. And in here is will be property description, that your legal description for your property. And down here with the purple ones, this will have the breakdowns of your property. Very important thing is this one will be well, it was broken into your land, your improvements. When we talk about the improvement, it's not just what we call the improvement. In this one, it's actually talking about the building, the house. Okay, and you can see the final appraisal value is right here. And this final appraisal value might be the ones that you have already negotiated after you file the protest with EduCAD. Another important thing is the exemption that you qualify. It's supposed to list right here. So if it's not listed right here, please just contact EduCAD or tax office to double confirm. And let's move to the left side right here. So right here, this will be all the jurisdictions that charge on your property and also covered by tax unit. So just like I said earlier, you might have another bill or two or even more to cover with your, but this is only the list that covered by Harris County Tax Office. So the exemption is the list right here. Taxable value. So how does this taxable value is calculated? So we can move back to this appraisal value. So taxable value, as I said earlier, is appraisal value minus this exemption. So this will come up with the taxable value. And here is the tax rate that determined by the your tax unit. So when the taxable value multiplied with the rate, this will be your final tax, and this will be the total. Okay, so let's get back to take a look at the bottom. Here, we call this the coupon. So if a homeowner want to pay your dues with a check, so these coupons will be attached with it that will help Harris County Tax Office to process as early as possible and as soon as possible. And another tip is if you have more than one properties, you actually can consolidate in one check. But we would like you still have those different coupons attached to it, so we would know how much has been applied to the different property. Next one here, just like I said earlier, just this give you an example how the exemption can save you big money. So in this example, we take a house that was about $185,000. So on the left side, when there is no exemptions kick in, as you can see, the full bill is almost $4,500. However, when the homestead exemption start to kick in, it immediately saves you more than $1,200. On the right side, in addition to the homestead, and you pile on with either 65 or disability, everybody can see it's almost save you 2/3 of the total bill. This is huge. So I would like to everybody, just go to EduCAD website and take a look at different kind of exemption that if you qualify, apply for it. The next ones I'm talking about is the tax limitation, and this is also coming with the more 65 senior. Once you have been approved, then this tax ceiling or what we call the tax freeze or tax limitation, they are talking about the same thing. It's just terminology, but they are all talking about the tax ceilings, the limit of the school tax. So let me take just for example, if you qualify for 65 senior exemption this year, and just in case, and for example, if you pay $1,000 for your school bill, so from now on, going forward, your school tax will never ever go above 1,000. It can go lower, but it will never ever go above 1,000. And there are some situations this tax ceilings or tax freeze, tax limitation will be broken. The situation is when the homeowner, the first ones, if you do the big modification, and when you are actually at swimming pool, a tennis court, or you are adding a game room, you are actually add and increase the substantial property values on your house. So at this point, EduCAD definitely will just raise the property and broken your tax ceiling. So just have to think about the remodel, the impact for your tax eventually after you qualify this tax limitation, after you apply with the with the over 65 senior exemption. And in here, we talk about another one, the tax deferral. So for this ones, specifically, we would like to take it as an insurance policy. So for these ones, the major purpose is try to postpone the tax payment or prevent the foreclosure. How does this work? For the regular delinquency account, actually start from February 1st, those delinquency account will be charged 7% with the interest and penalty, and it will be increased 2% every month. Just keep going on. For example, the March will be 9%, April will be 11%. And until July, in addition to what you have already owned, tax office will just move those delinquency account to the law firm. And at this point, since it's go to the law firms and the taxpayer have to pay extra 15 to 20% of the attorney fee to collect your own bill. Okay, so when you total them all together, it's easily piled on 35 to 40%. That will be very huge. And this tax deferral actually can prevent from it. The first one, we can see the second bullet side is 5% interest per year on the unpaid balance. That means it's only increase accrues 5% for the entire year. Okay, so earlier I talked about eventually, the first month of the regular delinquency account is already 7%. But this one, if you have a tax deferral, it's only 5% for the entire year. And what we want to remind everybody, this tax deferral will also have an end at some point. Those tax that has been postponed will be immediately due. And there are two situations. The first one is when the home ownership change. So if you have already the tax deferral on this property, but you are thinking relocate to a new place, and at this point, you might have to sell to somebody. Okay, so the homeowner ship changed. So this tax that has been postponed for over maybe years, then they will be immediately due. The second situation will be your homestead status changed. So it's the same. You are going forward, you are going to a new resident location, and this homestead status will also change. So this is also another situation. Those tax will be due immediately. So in terms of when the ownership change, we want to remind everybody. So if you have the heir that you have already assigned, you might want to talk to them that you want to take this approach to do the tax deferral, because in a situation, if the homeowner pass away and their heirs has to inherit their property, those tax that has been postponed will also be due immediately. Okay, so you do want your heir to know not only the property they will inherit, but also the tax. So another thing is we want to remind the homeowner also, if you still pay for your mortgage, and you need to talk to your mortgage company too, because some of the mortgage company doesn't recognize this tax deferral approach because they are afraid of eventually this will hurt their lien. Talk about we were talking about the prevented the foreclosure. Okay, so they might have some concern about this is the bad situation might happen. Is anyone need to talk to? Okay, so I will keep going on. All right, so for these ones, you can see not everybody qualify for. It's the same. There are some criteria that need to just apply. The first one is that the property has to be the homestead. The second one is will be the age of over 65 or older disabled homeowners, as well as the disabled veteran. Okay, let's get on to the next one. And I'm going to just introduce a new tax relief programs that is funded by the American Rescue Plan Act 2021. However, it was just officially launched in March. And for this one, the major purpose is to help the homeowner who has been left behind with their mortgage, their property tax, homeowner insurance, or HOA fee. And what we can see from here on the first one, it says that this will be go up to 25,000 for the late property tax and the fees related household. But for the mortgage, it's not listed right here. For the mortgage, it can go up to 40,000. So this is quite a huge help if the homeowners need some assistance because of pandemic. However, not everybody qualify. But again, there are some criteria need to apply. The first one, this has to be a homestead. Second one, there are income limitations. But everybody can just go to this website, texashomeownerassistance.com. Okay, this is the one, and the next page, it will be the home page. You know, when you go down to this homeowner association assistance.com's page, and this is a very user friendly website that it can just guide you to see your eligibility, if you qualify or not, because your income level has to be less than your area median income. However, it's very user friendly. Again, if you want to check, come to this website and take a look at that. Earlier, I've already checked, and within Harris County, so far there are 736 households has been assisted with more than 6.7 million, I believe so, that has been distributed from this program. So if you know somebody need assistance, need help, please spread the word for us. I believe we would like to have spread the word and help as much as homeowner. And this is a quarterly payment plan. Earlier, we were talking about that there are specific group, as we can see from here. Again, it's age 65 over, disabled owner, disabled veteran, and their surviving spouse. As we can see, I really feel Texas, this state is really try to help those much more vulnerable and minor group. And I personally will very appreciate for this specific quarterly payment plan. Qualified homeowners, they can just divide their bill into 4 installments. And the best thing is there is no penalty or the interest occurred. So if somebody really needs this very beneficial programs, please just talk to, call the tax office and talk to our specialist. And the second one is another kind of payment plan that will be much more flexible. Everybody can see this is just a range from 12 to 36 months. And this one is basically based on the homestead status. We will talk about much details slide later on. Okay, and for these ones, the beneficial, okay, you also can pay off early. Even you have already signed up maybe a longer terms, but if you can pay for it, then just go for it. And also, if once you enroll into the payment plan, then you automatically will avoid to have your accounts moved to the law firm. Therefore, it will just prevent the attorney fee. Earlier, I talked about the 15 to 20%, and as well as the possibility of foreclosure. And this payment plan, again, it starts as early as February 1st and as late as the deadline is June 30th. Okay, so today is almost 1 week away from the deadlines. If you do need this payment plan, please just contact tax office to set up your payment plan. So let's take a look at what's the difference, based on the homestead status. On the left side, okay, so this will be the homestead for the homestead status residents. The time of everybody can see again 12 to 36 months. Our specialist from tax office will just discuss with you and to pick a best terms based on your affordability. And what you need to pay the term is for everyone. This is a delinquency account. The first month start from February 1st, everybody still have to pay that 7%. However, I talk about the regular delinquency, it has to pay 2%. But for the homestead plans, it only occurred 1%. Okay. And on the right side, those are the non-residents, those are the properties, not homestead, and much more. They might be for the revenue generating purpose, like a rental property. For these properties, unfortunately, the penalty and the interest will not be waived. However, you still have a very flexible terms to choose from. But for all the payment, early, as I said, the best benefit, it won't be moved to the attorney office to get a collection fee. So if everybody need this payment plans, when you notice you might have trouble to pay, please just contact tax office as soon as possible. And there's another, I would say, the prepayment plan. This is much more jump start for the homeowner, because everybody knows it's a lump sum, big money for some people at the end of December, November, and January. And there are some people, they are trying to financially savvy. They would like just to pay in ahead of time and to release the burden at the end of the year. So within Texas, we actually doesn't have like install plans for every month set up. However, Texas actually allowed the homeowner to pay any amount at any time. Okay, so everybody can just based on what you already have your bill on the previous year and to pay. But remember, this is you are paying a bill that has not been certified until late October. Okay, so if you are overpaid, tax office will just refund back to you. So there is no trouble that you think you are overpaid and cannot get refund. Okay, another reminder, you need to tell the tax office, especially on the check, what this property is applied for. So we would know this payment is specifically applied to which property. And the next one, we were just talking about the different kind of payment options. So everybody can see they are very flexible. You can pay online, by mail, by telephone, or in person by appointment. So just want to have some reminders. If you pay online and if you want to pay by credit card, you need to know that you have to pay that extra 2.35 convenience fee. Okay, so this is the taxpayer has to pay by themselves. For the by mail, we would like to just remind taxpayer, if you want to send your check approaching to the end of the January or the deadlines, we would like to ask you just go into the post office, ask the staff, the post office staff, to hand stamp on the envelope in front of you, because tax office actually determine if this a late payment just based on the postmark on the envelope. Okay, and of course, if you want to pay in cash, you definitely have to go in person. We have 16 branch office around the Harris County for you to use from. The next one is just a recap of the important dates. January 31st will be the last day to pay your property tax. February 1st, it will be the beginning date for the request, the payment, and that's the start of the delinquency account. July 1st, as we talked about earlier. It will be started of the collection fee from the law firm. August through October, that will be the period of time when the tax unit determine the rate. And October, November, that will be the tax office come to make just do the math, print out the bill, send out the bill. And the December 31st, that will be the last days for the taxpayer to pay those amount as a deduction for their federal income tax. And here, tax office at this point, we are open and we are welcomes. Everybody can just come to office, come to tax office, or if you do have questions, there are different ways to contact with us: online, email, or the phone. And hopefully everybody can just feel comfortable whenever you have any questions. The tax office is here to help. Okay, thank you. And this is concludes my presentation. And let me just stop the sharing. All right. And do I hand back to Nia or Mabel?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I know that there were quite a few questions that were asked and answered already in the chat. However, I know that people are watching us on Facebook Live and also are only joining us by phone, so they cannot see the questions that are being asked in the chat. And I do like to review those questions just as, just kind of a review in case some other people have those exact same kind of questions or concerns. So if it's not something specifically or personal, that it's like a more of a general question, then I want to read those aloud. But in the meantime, while I'm looking at those, if someone does have any questions that they'd like to ask directly of the presenters, please feel free to either raise your hand or just unmute yourself and ask your questions directly of the presenters, please. Yes, Miss Kinney, yes, go ahead.
I had to reschedule my virtual meeting with an adjuster, and the meeting is for July the 7th. And the person scheduling me said that I had to have evidence in by July 4th. Isn't that a holiday that wouldn't be considered part of the business days? You have to have your evidence downloaded by a certain time.
So, Ms. Mabel?
Would not, is July 4th considered one of those 3 or 4 days, or was I given misinformation?
Ms. Mabel, can you answer that for her, or Tawana?
Hi. Actually, that's consideration, I'm sure, because it's a holiday. And I think, is Patrick still on?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know specifically. They were probably just going 3 days before the scheduled hearing date, not realizing that July 4th was a holiday. If you can get your information in before that, great. Submit it as soon as possible. We like 3 days and able to make sure that it is available to the appraiser in the hearing. But if it's submitted on the 5th, it probably should be okay. And if you have a way that possibly through the hearing to share it, there is a way to share your screen in the hearing. You could also present it that way.
Things as I have them ready, or do they need to all be downloaded at one time?
I mean, it's preferable so that you can ensure that it's there for the appraiser to review. But if you have some things that are not downloaded all at the same time that you would like to share with the appraiser in the hearing, I think you can do that at the time of the hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I hope that addresses your concern, Ms. Kinney. There was a question here in the chat that says, what if you have inherited property with at least 2 siblings? How do you get homestead exemption for people that live in the inherited property? Right now, it shows 66% for the 2 people living in the property. How do you get to 100%?
Okay, as far as, this is Tawana.
Okay.
As far as the exemption, if on our application, there's a space, in section 3 where they can check to say whether or not if the other heirs actually live in the property. If it's only one person that physically lives there, then they will be able to get their 100% of the exemption. They just need to fill out the application and the affidavit that's with it.
Okay. So it doesn't automatically get updated if.
No,
if it's
you have,
okay, you have to reapply.
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Also, do you inherit the exemptions that were already in place, like a disability or disabled vet?
No. Any exemptions that were on the property as of January 1st, they will remain on the property, but as far as, it depends on when the ownership changes, but the exemptions do not transfer to the new owner.
Okay. I filed for homestead exemption in January of 2022, and I haven't heard anything as of yet. What do I need to do?
See, we just started, usually it takes us 90 days in order to process an application if we have all of the information. You can either contact our information and assistance department, or you can send an email to help@hcad.org. Just get in contact with us so that we can check on the status for you.
Okay. Is your preference that they email or that they call if they're just checking on the status?
It will probably be best to just go ahead and give us a call or check our website to see whether or not their information has been updated yet.
Okay, and what phone number do they contact?
The telephone number for the information center is 713-957-7800.
Okay. Let's see. Will I receive some kind of notice once I filled out a change of ownership form to notify, that as if to verify that the changes have been made?
No, if it's just an ownership update, then we just update the ownership. We don't send out a confirmation. The only confirmation that we send out is when the exemptions are placed on the account.
And you receive that notification every year about the exemptions?
The confirmation cards, yes.
Yes. Okay. Still just kind of scrolling through the chat here. What form do you use to give up your share of a property? I don't think that's a whole nother issue. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a tax appraisal or a tax assessor question. So that really just depends on who it is that you're trying to give the property to. Let's see, I'm still scrolling here. What about various exemptions like wildlife or mason bees?
That would actually be a question for our total exemption department. I know that there's an agricultural exemption, but I don't know about wildlife or mason bees. That's probably a question for our total exemptions department.
Okay. And I know there was a question that had come in for someone that had just registered, and I'm gonna go back to that page. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
But in the meantime, Miss Ethel, you turned your screen on. Did you have a question? No? Okay. All right. When do the increases that were voted on back in May actually take effect? Is it for this year?
Yes, ma'am. They're for 2022.
Okay. Okay. Someone asked a question here. I just found out that because I have deferred payments on my property taxes, my child will have to pay the taxes when I am deceased. So I want to set up a payment plan. Is that possible? Yes. How long does a person have to pay the property taxes that have been deferred for a homeowner, for an over 65 person?
Maylene, can you answer? You want to answer that?
Yes. So when it's been immediately due, when we're talking about immediately due, that means now the homeowner have the obligation to pay. And I believe there are 180 days that the homeowner can just talk to tax office and to see. You also can just arrange a payment plan with tax office, and because start from the number 181st, the regular penalty will be applied. Okay, so when we are talking about immediate due, that means the homeowner have the obligation start to pay, but actually you have that 180 days that you can work with tax office to pay out. Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, how far back can exemptions be applied if heirs have occupied the home ever since inheriting it?
The farthest back that we're currently able to go is 2020.
Okay. Let's see. How long does it take for the exemptions to actually kick in? Like from beginning to end, what's the start of the process? Like if I apply today, how long does it
Then
take?
check back 90 days from today.
Okay. Let's see. I had a contractor who pulled for permits for outdoor and kitchen patio that was not completed. At this time, it is in litigation due to structural issues, but my property value increased due to that. What can I do?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Apparently, they had a contractor that pulled permits to do some construction for outdoor kitchen, but they never finished it. So right now they're in litigation because they developed some structural issues based on the work that the contractor did or did not do. So since then, because they pulled the permits for it, their property value has increased.
Sure. Yeah, since the permits are pulled, likely an appraiser went and visited the property, recorded what had been done. And again, as Mabel mentioned earlier, it's what's there as of January 1st of each year. So if it was partially complete, the appraiser may have noted that it was not 100% complete, was partially complete. Now, if there are further issues with the quality of construction, or it's not what was intended, that might be something that you would like to protest and bring those extenuating circumstances to an appraiser's attention in a hearing. But if it exists and it's there as of January 1st, we're going to note it on the property record. But again, if it's incomplete, we should note that as well. Not 100% of the value, but a partial value for what was added.
So after the protest deadline and somebody didn't, say for instance, somebody didn't do this process or they didn't contest or protest, they can't then later on go back and say, hey, wait a minute, this is incorrect because this value should have been XYZ last year, but they never protested. So
Right.
They cannot go back and
Well,
protest.
there are
later.
still avenues. You can file for a correction. And there's different types of corrections, and they correspond to different sections of the tax code. You might just ask for a 25.25H, which is a chief appraiser agreed motion. So if you bring, submit the information, the evidence you have, pictures, estimates, whatever documentation you have, an appraiser can review that. And even though it hasn't been protested, we may still agree and say, you know what, we need to do something, correct this value, reduce it, and we can make an adjustment at that point if you did not protest it previously.
Okay. Miss Ethel, did you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. I still didn't get a complete understanding. Um, I said that right now I'm tax exempt. I'm 77 years old. When I die, will my descendants have to pay all the back taxes that I didn't pay?
Are you exempt or deferred?
It says tax exempt on my card that I get every year. It says tax exempt. It doesn't say tax deferred.
Okay, so your exemptions will stay on your property until you pass away. Once you pass away, then the exemptions would come off. We won't take, I think your question is asking whether or not if, once you pass away, we'll go back and remove the exemptions. Is that what your question is?
No, she's asking about the payments. If she's been exempt for several years, because she's exempt, do the heirs have to go back and pay the taxes while she has been exempt, not deferred?
No. No, her exemptions, after she passes away that next year, that would be the tax year that the heirs would start paying their tax bill itself. It wouldn't be anything from prior years when she was alive.
Miss Ethel, does that answer? I think we kind of lost her.
Always keep in mind that the exemptions go with the person, not the property. It's a way I always remember it. So those exemptions, as long as she is owner, are going to belong to her. And the exemptions will not transfer over. I mean, I'm sorry, but the exemptions always belong to her. Once the ownership changes, then the exemptions, they're going to be a set of different circumstances for the new owners based on their qualifications. But no, she does not have to worry about that. A lot of people tend to get that confused with a deferral.
Mhm.
Deferrals are, because those taxes are deferred. The exemptions exempt you from paying those taxes. The deferrals only defer those taxes, and they do eventually become due. If that helps, Ms. Ethel.
Yeah, I think we just I think her phone kind of
Okay.
messed up. So when she comes back, we'll make sure she knows. Now, as far as a deferral goes, or deferral,
Deferral.
if if a senior has had deferral on their property taxes for the last 8 years, and then they pass away, is it all 8 years, or do you only go back so far where those taxes are due?
If I'm not mistaken, the tax bill itself. Okay, so a property owner can have a deferral on their account and still actually pay their actual tax bill when they receive it.
Mhm.
But if they had not paid taxes in 8 years, once that ownership changes, then at that point, the amount will become due. I think the tax office can go back as far as, I think, almost 10 years. I'm sorry, 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not for sure about that. Ms. Mailing, I don't know how far back the tax office can go.
I believe as long as the homeowner is still alive, this person can just keep going on. I
Okay.
don't think there's a specific deadlines. No, it's only happens, it will be due only when the homestead status change or the homeowner. So as long as it is 2 stays, deferral stays.
So for those seniors, if you've gotten a deferment or have had a deferral for umpteen years, I think it's probably in your best interest to let your children or whoever know when they go to inherit the property that, that they're gonna have
Correct.
umpteen years of taxes to have to pay back. And it's all within 180 days of the person passing, correct?
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. Let's see. I did not see any other questions that were in the chat. You guys have been great about answering all of these questions too. So thank you very much for that. Miss Mabel and Miss Maylene, was there anything else, Miss Tawana? that we're forgetting. It seems like we went by a lot quicker than we typically do. I'm not sure why, but is there anything else that you guys would like to add before we kind of wrap up?
I would like to add, yeah, earlier we talked about a deferral, and I'm talking about as an insurance policy. The reason I'm talking about that, if yes, I mean, if you already applied and you are approved, but just like Tiwana said, you still can pay for your tax. I mean, by all means, it still generated like 5%, right? And but this 5%, it's really just to save you some money. If it's just some homeowner, you know, you forgot to pay, you drop the bill. You know, compared to the regular delinquency account, you still save some. So, I mean, for the regular situation, you can afford to pay in full, by all means, go do it. And, you know, everybody knows that if you postpone, you delay, eventually it's always became like a burden.
Most importantly, just to talk to your family members and let them know, whether it's deferred or exemption, whatever it is that you're trying to do, just
That's
communicate with your
true.
family members and let them know what's going on. So
Correct.
nobody's caught off guard. That's like one of the worst things that you can get, is to find out when somebody passes away that, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, you have this tax
You
bill,
have
or
a lot of
otherwise you're
tax
gonna
to
lose your
pay,
mom's
right?
house. So yeah, that's not a nice kind of feeling to have. So thank you guys very much. And I know you kind of touched on just a little bit about the what do you call it, the disaster relief fund that's available for homeowners that are past due on their mortgage and property taxes and HOAs. Our workshop that we have tomorrow is our foreclosure prevention and purchasing a home using seller financing or for sale by owner. They're going to be discussing and kind of going over a little bit more in detail about that program and how it works and how you can apply for that if there are any homeowners that are interested in that particular assistance. Please do whatever it is that you guys need to do. Reach out to whomever it is you need to reach out to for some type of assistance. And you don't want to lose your home that you worked hard for over the years due to you know, taxes or you know, whatever it is, whatever financial situation that you find yourself in, you don't want to lose your home. So there are services, there are counseling agencies, there are modifications that can be done, there's payment plans that can be set up in order to help you with not losing your home to foreclosure. So so please feel free to sign up for that workshop for tomorrow. Also, next Tuesday is our last workshop for the month, and that is our coffee and conversation with the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods and other city department representatives. That is an opportunity for the community members and stakeholders to talk to various department heads and have their questions or their issues addressed, their concerns talked about, whether it's heavy trash and illegal dumping or stray dogs or speed bumps or whatever it is that's going on in your neighborhood that you want to talk about. That's an opportunity for you to have those concerns addressed. So so please join us for that next Tuesday at 10 a.m. But with that being said, we are planning our schedule for the fall. We won't have any workshops for the month of July. However, all of the recordings for our previous sessions are available, and they are also on our Facebook page at Amos Houston TX. So please feel free to go back and watch those. But the previous workshop that Ms. Mabel made reference to, the other property tax workshop, I'll be sending out a link to for that session as well as this session for everyone to go back to review or to share. There was another question that just popped up. Do you always have to go to a hearing for property value taxes? You mean like the protest, Miss Darlene? Ms. Darlene, is that your question? Are you talking about a protest hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
I mailed my paperwork in, and I was wondering, do you always have to go in for a hearing? Or will they send you something with an offer or something? This is my first time, so I don't know.
Right. You sent your your protest in through the mail, so you're going to get a schedule, and it may be an option to do a virtual hearing through WebEx, or it may be a schedule to visit in person. If you go on our website and use the iFile system, and there should be an iFile number on your notice of value that you received in the spring, there is a way to opt into what's called the iSettle program, and then an automatic offer may be sent to you, and it may be agreeable to you, and you don't have to come in or deal with a hearing at all. But you need to opt into the iSettle program in the future.
But you still have the option later on, if you don't agree with the iSettle
Correct,
amount, you
yes.
could still do the in-person. Okay.
Correct.
So you could do both, Ms. Darlene.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Ms. Marla, you unmuted yourself again. You have another question?
Yes, I do. What the last person was just discussing, I learned the hard way that when you do the iFile and you list what you want it, why you want it reduced, and they make you an offer. If you don't like that offer, you don't get to see a adjuster. You have to go before the board for your meeting. It bypasses seeing an adjuster. That happened to me 2 years in a row before I figured it out. There is, I guess that's the iSettle. I'm sorry.
Yes, that is correct.
If you do the iSettle, then it's that one shot. You either take or leave their offer.
That is correct. The iSettle replaces the informal meeting. We typically just keep it to the 2 steps: an informal meeting or an iSettle offer, and or the ARB hearing setting. So if you opt into the iSettle and an offer is made and you decline that offer, then you will be scheduled for an ARB hearing, not an informal meeting. So yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Tawana put on here, the iSettle hearing is the same as the informal hearing. So basically they're going to make the same offer, whether it's
not the same offer, but it's basically the same level. It's an either or.
Oh. It's an I what?
Either or. You either opt into iSettle or you go to an informal meeting.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I hope that helps, Ms. Darlene. Let me make sure one last time. I don't have any other questions. I don't want anybody to walk away and says that their question didn't get addressed or get answered here. So, all right, good deal. All right, well, with that being said, thank you guys very much for joining us this afternoon. Ms. Mabel, Ms. Tawana, Ms. Maylene, Patrick, thank you guys very much for taking the time to come out and present this information this afternoon for everyone. We certainly invite you guys to come back and join us for future month of service presentations. Again, this session is being recorded and we will send out a link for it, as well as the previous month session that kind of goes into a little bit more detail about the protest process and things like that, for you guys just to go back and to review. We ask that you pay it forward, share this information with other people that don't know anything about what we've discussed here today or know about different exemptions. You'd be very surprised at how many people I've come across, even still, that don't know about the property tax exemptions, or that don't feel like, oh, it's just, whatever, it's not really going to save any money, it's not worth it or whatever, but it really does. So definitely pay it forward and share this information with everybody. So thank you guys very much for joining us. Just take a couple of minutes following this presentation. You'll see a pop-up box on your screen to take a few minutes to complete our survey, asking for your feedback, your input on other workshops that we don't currently offer. If there's something that you guys are interested in, then please let us know, and we will take that into consideration when we are planning our sessions for the fall. So you all have a wonderful remainder of your afternoon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay cool for oh my gosh, I can't believe what this weather's like. It's not even July already. So, but you guys stay cool and stay safe, and you all have a wonderful day.
You do the same. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everyone.